live on Facebook and YouTube.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are chatting about, James, what's the title?
Why your business is where it's at.
Yeah, super duper. So a lot of people have no idea, because they think they're doing all the right things, why their business is where it's at. And honestly, this is like one of the hardest things to talk about. It's when you have a scarcity mindset, when things are hard, when things aren't going your way, you begin to attract more of that into your life. And this is going to sound really hokey pokey, like law of attraction. And it's not just about manifesting your life to happen the way you want it to happen and sitting on your couch and magically your salon gets busy and built up. You have to have applied action. But your energy, your frequency is contagious. And you start attracting things into your life the more you think about them. And the more you think about them, the more you start seeing it and the more you start attracting it. So if you think of this thing called the reticulator activating system, probably messing that up. But do you ever drive and you want like let's say a red Volkswagen, for example, and you're driving around now, all you see is like red Volkswagens. It's because you start seeing these cars because you're aware of it. And you want this car. So your brain starts making the connections for you. And it's like that in your business too. When you're afraid of someone leaving your salon, you're afraid of drama happening, or you don't want to deal with a particular issue, a lot of times all you do is start thinking about that issue. And then you start attracting it to happen more and more in your salon. It works for things you don't want to happen, and it works for things you do want to happen. And so I've done this single-handedly almost in every business that I started. And what begins to happen is it works sometimes, right? And then you forget that it actually works, and then you let life get the best of you. And then you start thinking, well, this can't really happen for everything I do. And then you start second guessing yourself. But the importance of writing your vision down and writing goals down and reading them every single day, I can't stress that enough. It was single-handedly one of the most important things I did when I started doing hair again. Because I took like a 10-year break in my 20s. I went to the Marine Corps and traveled around a lot. And when I started learning from like Esther Hicks, I watched The Secret, and I'm trying to do all this stuff about law of attraction, but I'm not so like fully bought in yet. And then something happened in my life where I had to really dig deep and I had to visualize what I wanted to happen in my life. And once I was committed, and all I did was think about the outcome that I wanted, I became the person that deserved that outcome. And I gave gratitude and thanks and praise for it happening the way I envisioned it. It actually happened. And so I had to get back in the hair again. Not had to, but I chose to get back in the hair again. I was like, well, if it worked for this instance of my life, let me try and apply this with hair. So I was like, honestly, every single week. I give up any distracting friends or activities in order to achieve this goal. Now, $500 a week obviously is not going to pay the bills, but it's what I had to reach for. It was believable. That next week, 500. The week after was like 6 and change. And then I'm like, holy shit, like it works for 5. Let me do 750. Move it to 750. Then 750 work. Move it to 1,000. 1,000 work. 1,250 work. Now, this is like January when I started doing this. And then from January till September, I went from literally barely doing 400 a week to doing 4,000 a week consistently behind the chair. By the end of that year, I was consistently booking like $25,000, $30,000 in 1 year. And now it wasn't just because I was envisioning my life the way I wanted it. It wasn't because I just had written down my goals and my success statement. It was because when I looked at my success statement every single day, and I looked at my goals that I wanted to hit, and I looked at vision, I had to ask myself, is the next thing I'm about to do aligned with that vision? And is the person who deserves that outcome, would he be doing the thing I'm about to do? Would he be saying things to himself that I would be saying if I was there? And that was my reality. So I think for a lot of owners, you have this goal and this vision, you write it down in January, you write it down in February, but it doesn't come to fruition because you just write it down once and you don't look at it. You have to use that goal as your North Star, that vision as your North Star. Jim, we don't have sound, or?
We have sound. It just sounds weird.
All right. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we're good. Wow, James, I thought you were set up before the podcast.
Where?
You didn't double check. So, James, if you're a podcast producer and you are looking for a job and you're looking to grow your business as a podcast producer, DM me because we're going to get you a job today to replace James. But anyway, so when you're like stressed out, all you can think about is the worst case scenario, right? You're maybe late on the bills. Maybe your salon's not operating the way you want it to. And I'm not saying you just have to magically write your goals down and read them every day and it's going to happen. No, you have to read your goals every single day. This is your North Star. This is like when you're driving in a car and you have your navigation, like your Google Maps or Waze, whatever you use, and you go off course. You can hit recenter and it recenters your car and where it's at in the map. That's what reading your goals every day does. And when you look at your goals and you read them, and you have to ask yourself, is it achieve this? Or is it just wasting time and I'm just keeping busy? Because I think what happens is when you're not at a place in your business where you want it to be, whether you're working behind the chair, whether you own a salon, you think the busier you are, the better the outcome. And that's not true. Think about someone who's drowning and they're flailing their arms all over the place. And they're very, very busy. They're just exhausting themselves. They're getting more tired. When if they were to just relax and stand up, they would realize that they're in a 4-foot pool and they're not going to drown if they stand up. So this happened to me in the Marine Corps when I was in swim qualification, and this kid couldn't swim, and they had him in the pool, and he was flailing his arms around, and the DIs were just like, stand up, screaming at him. And the kid was like 6'5". He stood up, he wasn't drowning, and he was able to survive. So if you're in a moment right now in your business and it's not going where you want it to, take a minute, chill out, stop trying to do everything and not give anything enough attention and consistent action where if you follow through on it, it will be successful. Because what's happening right now is you have no clear direction because you have no clear goals. You have no clear outcome that you're aiming for. And you are just trying to do everything you see online, every single influencer tell you to do. You're looking at all the coaches' content, you're reading all the books, and nothing's working because you don't keep on going in the same direction long enough for it to actually work. So write exactly what you want your salon to look like. Write exactly down what you want your business to look like. Write the exact dollar amount that you want to make. And then ask yourself, how do I achieve this result? So if you're a hairstylist, you want to book $2,000 a week. Let's take a look at your haircuts and your highlights and whatever services you provide. And then you break it down by the day. So if you want to book $2,000 a week and you work 5 days a week, that's $400 a day. So 400 a day times 5 days a week is 2,000. All right, so now let's take a look at $400 a day, see if that's achievable for you. If you charge $200 for a full highlight, which is super affordable, that's 2 full highlights a day. That's it. So if you start creating content and you start showcasing your authority and your skill set, that you are the best at highlights, you probably could bring in 2 people a day for highlights within the next couple weeks. And now let's say you do haircuts on top of that. And let's say you do blowouts on top of that. So that 200 per person might become 300 per person or 250 per person. So let's call it 250 now. So 250, let's say you get 3 people a day. That's 750 a day times 5. Now you're at 3,750. And this is how you quickly go from having a scarcity mindset to creating a believable a mindset of abundance, because now you broke it down on a level that is actually attainable for you. And as a business owner, if you want to do $20,000 a week in revenue out of your salon, you do the same thing. What does that look like? What needs to be true about your business so that can actually happen? And if you're looking at your business, you're like, all right, I have 8 employees. Let's do the math. I have 8 employees, and if I can get them to do $550 a day times 8, that's $4,400 a day times 5 days a week. That's $22,000 a week. You just hit your goal. And then all you need to do is now take action on the day-to-day operations and not take a look at the time horizon spread out between a quarter, a year, or a month. And then you could take actionable steps to achieve those small incremental results that you want. And I think for us as business owners, we might have written down our big dream, I want to be $1 million salon, but what does that really mean? Who do you need to become to make that happen? And then backtrack it to something that's digestible and achievable for you on a daily basis. That's why I like having daily scorecards. That's why I like having the ability to measure my success on day to day. And then once you figure that out, then you bring that measurement to a weekly basis. Then you bring it to a monthly basis, and then bring it to a quarterly basis. And so you want to make sure you're able to profit every single day out of your salon. Because if you're not profiting every day, then by the end of the week, you're going to be in the red significantly. So keeping your finger on the pulse of your business with a daily scorecard is, I would say, the most important thing for a new business owner, because you don't know what you don't know. And you think you might be doing well because your revenue is high, but then by the end of the week, you don't have enough money to pay your team. So I have a whole bunch of calculators. So go to nickmirabella.com and just in the search, put in calculator. And I got a bunch of daily, weekly, monthly scorecards in there that will help you identify what your true profit is. So let's circle back and wrap everything up. The most important thing you need is clarity on your end goal and your result. Then you need to have the belief, and you have to step into the reality where that truly exists. You will affect your energy when you're reading your goals every day and you give gratitude to the goal like it already happened. You will change the interaction in life because you're in a positive state. And honestly, every single person has this experience in the salon. You have that one person, that one client who comes in and disrupts your whole day because her energy is contagious. You have that one stylist that comes in and her energy is contagious and she disrupts the culture in the salon. You have that power by just being positive. So you could change the outcome of your day by vibrating at a more positive frequency and taking action on becoming the person who deserves to be successful. So, other than my microphone messing up, I hope that gave you guys a little bit of tangible, actionable steps that you can do. Take a daily pulse, visualize what needs to happen and who you need to become so you can achieve that big result. And then micro chunks on like what you need to actually have to do behind the chair. So if you're a stylist, it's 2 clients a day at whatever service that will bring in that revenue for you, or maybe 3. And then if you're a salon owner, what does each team member need to produce per day times however many you have to achieve the goal you want out of your salon? Then how many clients does that equal? And honestly, you could probably achieve that with no ad spend, just messaging people on your social media platform. So sit down with a huge pen and paper, relax, because if someone out there in the world in today's economy, right, because everyone's blaming the economy for things, is achieving the results that you want, why not you? What are they doing different? Success leaves clues. So if somebody's doing the thing that you want to achieve, you know it's possible. So you have to ask yourself, why not you? What are you doing different? Take a look at everyone around you and don't compare, but just see what they're doing that's different than you. See how they're showing up. And then as long as you know it's achievable, that helps you believe it's possible. And so when you start seeing other people do it, you're like, wow, you get a little confident. I can do this too. And honestly, they're not smarter than you. I promise you. So there's a lot of idiots out there who run businesses and they make millions of dollars a year. And the reason why is probably because they're not that smart. They just do the basics and they rinse and repeat every single day, and that compounds become success. So you can't outwork yourself out of a bad situation, and you can't just pray on your couch for the thing to turn around. You need a combination of visualizing, belief, actionable steps, and massive action. So do all of those, and you will get closer to the salon, to the business, to the success that you're looking for. James, I'm going to open up for any Q&A if we have it.
All right. We got
And guys, if you have mindset questions, just drop them in the chat right now. James is going to read them off to me.
Travering Camus. I didn't pronounce that correctly, but here we go. Do stylists need targets to trace performance?
Yeah. So this is a beautiful question because anything and everything you do needs to have a destination, or you're just doing nothing. Like if I told you I'm going to give you James, the podcast producer, is going to give you $10 million, and he wants to meet you at Donovan's bar in Manhattan at 5:00 on Friday. You come a minute late, you're not getting a $10 million. completely legal money. What is the most important piece of information you're going to want to know? You're going to want to know the address, the exact address. You're not going to put in Manhattan. It's too vague. There's a billion bars in Manhattan. Like, how are you going to find the right one? You're not going to put in downtown, uptown, because still, you're not going to be able to find it. You may not even want to put in Donovan's because there may be 5 locations. You want to put in the exact destination. So if you're a stylist, put in the exact number you want because you have to aim for it. And then you break that down. All right, that is going to be 4 highlights a day, 2 haircuts a day, 1 blowout a day, 2 highlights a day. And then you're able to now map out the strategic plan you need to do to get to your goal. And so if you don't have a clear destination, what's going to happen is you're going to get in your car, you're going to drive to meet James for that $10 million. And you're going to be like, all right, I live west of New York, so I know I got to drive east. Cool. You got somewhat of an idea. You're heading to New York City. But then as you get there, it's like, all right, I'm in New York City. Now what do I do? And so you're going to get stressed. You're going to get paranoid. You're going to be worried. You're going to be scared you're not going to get there on time. And that's when you start making wrong turns and wrong decisions and you start going left, you start going right, you start arguing with your wife and sitting in the passenger seat because she's like, oh my God, we got $10 million online here. Why don't you put it in the navigation? I didn't get the address. And then things start going crazy. But if you just put the exact destination in place, you're going to get there. And the most beautiful thing about this is it doesn't matter if you take a detour because you know where you're going at the end of the day. So you might want to go off course to get, a beautiful lunch somewhere. You want to go off course to go watch a beautiful sunset or a sunrise. You could always take detours here and there as long as you have that main target set into your navigation. That's why it's so important to have a clear target and you set them with each one of your stylists, and you as an owner need to have that. Because when you do get lost, because it's going to happen in business, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be things that happen. You now have the ability to refocus and be like, all right, if I keep heading in this direction, is that going to get me where I want to go? No. So what do I have to do? Make the next right. Boom. And that's why having that clear target is important. James, next question.
We have Lindy Rayco. Have a great 4th weekend, Nick. Thank you.
Happy 4th.
A good day from Australia. What if I don't know whether I want to stay behind the chair, build a team, or scale to something bigger?
All right, what experiences do you want to have? Like, what is the main, why did you open a salon? And what excites you the most? So I want you to think back. I want you to put yourself into the future. Project, I don't know how old you are, but put yourself when you're 85 years old, sitting on your front porch, sipping on a margarita, and you're looking back on your life. What is the impact you want to have on the world? And what are the experiences you wish you had created in your life? What memories do you have? And then if you can get clear on what memories you want to create with your life and what impact you want to have in the world, then you just connect the dots moving backwards. It's really too hard for you to figure out maybe what you want to do, like moving forward. But if you can get clear on the experiences you want to have and then the impact you want to have, and if you could really project yourself to that 85-year-old person sitting on your front porch, reflecting on your life, and maybe it's you want to live in Italy for a couple months. Maybe it's you want to build up other people because that excites you. Whatever excites you the most and whatever experiences really you want to have in this limited time we have on this earth, then do things that help make that possible. So if you want to travel, maybe having a commission salon that requires a lot of your time, maybe it's not the ideal situation. Or maybe you have to build a team and build a team of other leaders. So now you can have people in charge of your salon and you could travel the world. And maybe you need to be an educator. Maybe you can get paid to speak on stages. Maybe you can get paid to educate other salons and you could travel that way. And so now you're turning vacations into business trips. So you have to truly figure out what experience you want to have in life. And then you just fill in the blanks or fill in the dots going backwards. But one of the most important things when it comes to owning a salon is no matter what, you can't do it alone because you're always going to be trading your time for money. So you have to learn leadership. You have to learn how to build a team. You have to learn the art of communication. You have to learn how to ask the right questions so you can get your team to open up and visualize and see what's important to them as well. And then you help them achieve their goals by showing that your salon is the vehicle to help them get there. And if you're a salon owner right now and you're struggling with that, DM me the word owner and I'll help you out. I'll give you a couple different handbooks that I created to help give you clarity and help you refocus your intentions to be the best owner you can be, to help build the best team you can build, and then make your dreams happen too. I promise you, if you help everybody in your team achieve all their dreams and at the very least visualize and see what's important to them, and then you help them achieve it, you will have a successful business. Help others achieve the thing that you want to achieve, and something magical happens, you actually achieve it yourself. So hope that helped. James, next question.
Yeah, we got a couple. I want to lead a team. Marty girl. I want to lead a team, but honestly, I feel like I'm figuring things out. How do I lead them when I'm not 100% sure of myself?
Dude, no one knows where they want to go themselves. Like, nobody understands exactly where they want to go. It's like again, go back to the experience you want to have in life. Like, no one has the right answers, I should say. People know where they want to go. Let me backtrack that a little bit. You have to sit with yourself long enough and silence all the voices and all the noise to get written down on paper your ideal life. And so one thing you could do is take an actions and habit audit, right? So you can do this in like 15 minutes. It's a time and energy audit is really what Dan Martell calls it. But write down what you're doing on a daily basis, like in 15-minute, 30-minute increments every single day. And if you keep doing these things, are you going to be happy with your life in 5 years? No. All right. So out of these things, what is draining your energy? Stop doing them or delegate them. Out of the things you're doing every day, what's exciting you the most? Well, I like doing this, this, and this. And then so keep doing more of that. And if you keep doing more of that, where is that going to bring you? Will that bring you to your dream life and your dream goal? Then keep doing it. And if not, then make some changes. But it's funny because we're expected as we become adults to know what we want to be when we get older. And honestly, happiness is the most important thing. And when you're good at something, you're happy because you're achieving a certain level of success at that thing. So when you become an owner, it's hard. And the reason why you're stuck is because you're not good at it yet. And so it's frustrating to you. And then you don't know how to lead your team because you don't think you're a good owner yet. And you don't know where you're leading them because you don't know where you're going. You know you want to have a successful team. So think about you behind the chair. What was success for you? Why did you want to become an owner? And then when you bring your team on, get clear on what's important to each one of them, and then make it your job to help each and every single one of them achieve what's important to them. And then honestly, by default, it would help you become the owner you need to be. And then you'll get more clarity on what's important to you eventually. Because you should have a vision. You should have some core values. So I have a handbook on my website, nickmirabella.com. It's called Vision. Just put in vision, it will come up. It would help you truly uncover what's important to you. Because a lot of us live in the present moment, and a lot of us get pushed from the past to do the thing we're doing today. What you should be doing, I feel, what always works for me, is I put myself 10 years from now. Who is that person? Who is the Nick that I envision 10 years from now? What are the skills he has? How does he speak? How does he carry himself? What's the life he has? What kind of cars he drive? Who is he? Who is he at his heart? How kind of dad is he? What kind of husband is he? What kind of business owner is he? And then from that person's perspective, I pull myself forward into becoming that person. I don't let the past dictate anything. I let the future dictate the actions I have today. And that's the only way you'll become that person. So we have imaginations, and your imagination is the most important thing you can have as a business owner. So you can just sit here and imagine the exact business you want to have. And then you just play this game with yourself. You can even do it with AI, ChatGPT, have a conversation with it. Like, I'm trying to create my dream salon and my dream life. Ask me a series of questions that will help me uncover the truth that is hiding in my subconscious. You do that, it's going to ask you a series of questions. It will start triggering some engagement and some thought process for you. And now you're going to engage in this life that you're trying to create. And then all of a sudden, wow, you start writing the blueprint down of who you need to become, how you're going to make it happen, and you're going to make it a reality for yourself. Like now in the world of AI, it's really easy to start having these conversations with this learning tool, and you could really create a nice blueprint for yourself. But don't expect to have all the answers. I think that's what happens to a lot of people. You have to be quick to pivot, try things out, and if it doesn't work, it's not permanent, it's temporary. Then you take another pivot. But you want to be heading in a general direction though. James?
Yeah. How do you stay consistent when the motivation's just not there?
This is what separates a business owner from a great business owner. Don't rely on motivation, rely on your purpose. You need a bigger vision, you need something bigger than just money and dollar amount. You need some pain in your life. There's the pain pleasure mechanism. And when people either avoid pain or they seek pleasure. And so there has to be enough pain in you failing or not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing that's so great that it forces you to take the action you need to take. Don't be fueled by motivation. Just know that if I don't take action, my kids don't eat. And the person doesn't quit smoking usually until they get diagnosed with cancer. And now the pain is so great that if they don't quit smoking, then they're going to even die faster or they may not be able to beat this. So you have to put enough pain in your life where no ifs, ands, or buts. Like there's no way going back. Like I have to do this next thing. And so sometimes you have to trick your brain with enough pain. And you have to get around people. You have to change your environment because the world is a really depressing, negative place a lot of times. And change your whole entire Instagram, TikTok, YouTube feed, and make sure that the environment you surround yourself with digitally, with the content you're consuming, the people you're speaking to, your environment in your own head should be fueled by passion and excitement and positive talking. You have to speak to yourself positively. And then any person that comes into your life that doesn't help you like feel good when you're done with that conversation or done with that interaction with that person, if they don't add any value to your life, it's time to say goodbye to them. Could be a family member, could be a best friend, could be a team member, it could be anybody. It's not going to be permanent. It's just not right now. I can't be in that environment right now. And so I had to do that same exact thing. After I got arrested, I had to cut all my friends loose, get rid of everyone in my life. And I had to dig deep in myself and I surrounded myself with nobody. And I just surrounded myself with digital mentors because I had no money. Like I couldn't afford to hire a coach at that time in my life. All I did was watch like Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar. Who else? Mel Robbins was in that swing of people I used to digest information from. And I just honestly watched positive, reinforcing YouTube videos every day that gave me inspiration. And then I made my dream so big and I made the pain of going back to the other person so great that there was no going back. And so it's always a struggle. It's always a journey. But you have to have enough pain because motivation will die. That if you go back to being the person you were, then you're going to fall back into that trap again.
Steve Weiss said money is the motivation and put stylists that work for me that make 200K are not motivated by doing hair. They're motivated by the money they make.
Yeah, money motivates a lot of people. Money doesn't motivate everybody. So the one book I love to recommend for people, especially as a salon owner, is The 5 Love Languages. And I have a lesson called The 5 Languages of Leadership. And it's a combination of leadership, the 5 levels of leadership from John Maxwell, and then the 5 love languages, right? And then morph them together in a class. So every single person on your team doesn't always speak the money language. Some of them are like their language is like terms of endearment. So you can give someone a bonus on your team for hitting a KPI or hitting a marker that you set with them. And it doesn't really excite them. All they want is some recognition, like verbal from you. Hey, Jen, great job. Like I really love like the last couple of Instagram posts were amazing. You're doing a phenomenal job behind the chair. Your reviews are awesome. I just think you're exceptional. And I want to say thank you so much for being such an asset to the salon. That right there might impact her and make her that much better of a team member than giving her a bonus of $1,000 or $100 or a gift card for a restaurant down the street. So you want to make sure you identify what is the language your team member speaks. So you can motivate them and speak to them in the language they understand. If you guys want access to that class, shoot me a DM, Grow or Owner, or I don't know, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll tell you how you can get access to that. But this is what's so hard about salon owners is you think it's just hair. This has nothing to do with hair. Being a leader has got nothing to do with KPIs and all these dashboards and metrics that you use to run your business and show that you're successful. Leadership is something completely different. And majority of your team don't care about their KPIs. They just don't. And unfortunately, in our industry today, I think what's going wrong with it is a lot of people see stylists as a like celebrity stylist persona, and they see the money you can make behind the chair. Whereas years ago, you were almost looked down on for being a hairstylist. So you had to truly get in this industry because you loved it and you had passion and you loved the art and the craft of it. And so you refined your skills first and the money came second. Nowadays, some of these girls come out of school and they think they're going to make money right away and they don't. So they get discouraged. And then you got the people who only want to make money at it and don't understand the art of it. And so there's a mismatch in drive and inspiration nowadays, where you get the people who don't have the skill, but they think that, oh, wow, I can't do anything else. So let me just do hair because they make a lot of money. And that doesn't work for them either. And so by using money to dangle the carrot in front of them, they just don't have the skill set to achieve those goals, to hit that money target. So they get discouraged and want to become a realtor, or they keep on bartending their whole career and do hair part-time. And so we have so many different dynamic personalities now in the industry and so many reasons why people get behind the chair. As owners now, it's difficult to manage the vast amount of personalities because years ago, we just had people who truly love doing hair. And now it's like people who love doing hair, they couldn't do anything else. They see people on Instagram, they think it's a way to become an influencer. And so now with social media and with how much our industry has grown within respect, which is great. I love that. Like to be a hairdresser now, it's like, oh, you do hair. That's amazing. Like my friend does hair and she does extensions. She drives Mercedes and like we have clout now. And so now our industry is getting flooded with people who just don't have the passion. And so you as an owner now have to figure out a way to make them passionate about doing this when it wasn't really the thing they wanted to do. Great book for this, guys. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. They talk about career capital. And so as a hairstylist, you have to have some career capital. And in this career, people skills, haircutting skills, coloring skills, there's a lot of skills you need to have capital in this career. So before you become a business owner and before you become a successful stylist, you need career capital. Take a look at that book. It's actually a part of my personal economy book I'm writing. So I base my own business structure around career capital. James, next question.
Yeah, we got a bunch coming in.
Nice.
Hairtastic color. I have a few big plans and dreams. How do I organize them and achieve them?
All right, that's a great question. Let's do this. Take all your dreams, take all the things you want to do in life, and then write them down in front of you. Put them on like on index cards if you wanted to. And let's pretend that they're like dominoes. And which is the first one that has to be done first in order for that to knock down the next one, and then that to knock down the next one, and then you put it in an order. And so you can actually achieve each one efficiently and easily so you can get to the last one, which is like the big goal and the big target. And so I feel like a lot of people, they don't have a step one to do. So first identify what is the last one. And then the most important thing is where you're heading. That big target at the end is what's the first one you have to achieve. That's actually just as important. A tool that I would do is I would take all these ideas and notes. I would throw it through an AI like ChatGPT, and I would have it organize and structure your thoughts for you. Or I would hire me as a coach and I would help you out. But ChatGPT will help out just fine. I think we get inundated with like all the things when all we have to do is figure out the target we're heading for, like the big, hairy, audacious goal, the BHAG. And then the next thing is take a look at all these different cards you have laid out on the table. Like, all right, which one do I start with? All right, if I do this first, well, then that needs to happen first. Well, if I do that first, then that next. Oh, shit, I got this one I got to get done. That comes before that one. And so it gets really challenging. So you could throw that in AI, it would organize it, and then you can keep asking a question so you actually get to the first next step. And then you just do that first step. Then you take your next one. Then you take your next one. Then you take your next one. And then, like a sniper, just knock down each one of these goals. And then before you know it, you're going to look up and you're going to be at your main goal, your main target. One thing I want to add is, as you're doing this, you're going to start getting wins and stacking them up. Never forget what the goal is, because I think where a lot of people go wrong is they get some success in their life and then they start celebrating at mile 15 of a 26-mile marathon. And then they take 5 steps back again. So you want to stay laser focused and you have to keep your eye on the prize, and you don't celebrate until you achieve the main goal you want to achieve. Too many people have a little bit of success and they celebrate and then they lose focus again, and then they don't get to where they want to go. So it's important to do it in sprints too. So it's like, I break these down like in quarter 30 or 90-day sprints, and then like mini 30-day chunks. So it's like 3 major targets for the quarter, 30 days, or if it's a really big goal for the quarter, it's just one big one with incremental measuring marks. And then at the end of the 90 days, I take 2 days, I reflect, what could I have done differently? What was successful about it? All right, how much closer am I to taking the next actionable step for that next big target? All right, shit, I did this thing, I hired that person, this went wrong. And a lot of success and a lot of like getting to the next level is really just having conversations with yourself and seeing what worked, what didn't work. That's all it really is. And then sharpening the saw. So we as business owners or entrepreneurs, we always try and outwork a bad situation. Sometimes you have to outthink it first and take a look and analyze what's happening. And honestly, at the end of the day, if you're not happy and you're halfway to your goal, you could always change it. So it's not like, don't be so stuck on it. Like, just know that everything in life is temporary. And honestly, we could die tomorrow. Nothing else matters. You stressed the last 3 days of your life over this thing when it doesn't even matter, because no one's going to give a shit in 200 years anyway, or even 100 years. So just understand, don't take yourself too seriously, but make sure you figure out where you're going in that first one you have to start with. James.
We got Angela, the Bespoken Crown. Hey, boss. No question.
Hey, Angela.
I want to say, for anyone questioning if they should join your program, they definitely need to.
She's a paid sponsor, by the way. I'm just kidding.
Mindy Ladd wants to know what that book was that you talked about earlier.
It was called So Good They Can't Ignore You by, I think, Cal Newport.
So good they can't ignore you.
Yeah. And that book, to me, was one of the most life-changing books I ever read.
Angela also said, hire Nick. Steve Weiss. Most salon owners run a salon. Smart owners run their business as a salon. And he also said, many come out of school and rent a suite and fail. You cannot come out of school and expect to build a successful business.
Yeah, they have no career capital.
And then we got
the thing about coming out of school and thinking that you could be alone in a suite by yourself is bananas to me. Could it happen to somebody? Yeah. There's always the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant of the world, and like the anomalies, right? For the most part, though, there's so much that goes into running a business, and we think it's just hair. It's so expensive to buy color and supplies and foils, and expensive and taxing on your body and your mind and the time. So it's you're delusional if you think you're going to come out of hair school and just rent a suite that's $400 or $500 a week and think it's going to be easy, when you should really honestly join a team and start finding mentors and then creating this version of yourself who eventually can open a suite or a salon of your own. Next question, James.
Yeah, we got a good one here. I've had a hard time setting boundaries with my clients, especially the ones who've been with me forever. Do you have any advice for me?
All right. If you have a hard time setting boundaries, I want to ask why. What are you afraid of? That's the only reason why you have a hard time setting boundaries, is because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you tell them you can't do their hair. And are you a people pleaser? And I think a lot of people, I actually heard this the other day. So let me just back up a little bit here. Imagine you were born and you were given a human to take care of for your whole entire life, to make sure they were safe and make sure they were protected. And that was your sole responsibility of this life. Like, you had to make sure that they didn't get hurt, to make sure they were doing the right thing, and you had to take care of this human being. How would you act differently? How would you treat that person? How would you take care of that person? And in the real world, you are that human. You're a spirit who you were given a human to take care of. And so many of us don't take care of ourselves. You don't have positive self-talk. You don't take care of yourself like with the food you're eating, physically, mentally. So the most important person is to take care of you first. So then you can now take care of other people. But what we do is we put everyone else first, and then we're so exhausted and drained that we can't take care of the people who are most important to us. But you're the most important human to yourself. Because if you're broken, if you're tired, if you're sick, how are you going to take care of your daughter, your son, your family, and everyone else? How are you going to take care of your client? So you have to first make sure that you are taking care of yourself first. And then you have to ask yourself, what are you afraid of? And that's it. Are you afraid of losing money if they're going to leave you for saying no? And so you have to be confident with these conversations. I personally, we're in the service industry, so I was a yes man. Yeah, sure, I'll come in. And then it got to the point where some clients they would take a little bit of advantage of my niceness. But I do realize that the harder I worked and the more I said yes to people, the more money I made. So it's a trade-off. What boundaries are you trying to set? Put it in the chat. I'd like to know what kind of boundaries you're trying to set. Because if it's like people canceling or pricing boundaries on you, then they're not hard conversations. If it's like, hey, can you stay a little later for me tonight because I'm working? Well, this is the industry that we're in. And so if you want to make more money, then you have to do more people and cater to more people. Not at the expense of you being exhausted. Then change your schedule. And instead of coming in at 8 a.m., because those clients can come on another day, on the days you stay late, come in at 12 or 1. And then you stay late those days. This is the beautiful thing about our industry. We could do what we want. Like, we could work 3 in the morning until 7 in the morning and just do nurses who get off a shift at 2. Like, it's so remarkable the flexibility we can have behind the chair. James, did she drop a comment in there?
No.
What boundaries? Yeah, the whole boundaries conversation, honestly, think of you taking care of yourself. Everyone gets so focused on boundaries and being exhausted and policies. Just fucking say no. That doesn't work for me. Sorry. I could do Saturday. I could do Tuesday. I could do Wednesday. It's very simple. Just set a standard for yourself that you won't go below. Nope, this is my hours. But just know the person who is a little bit hungrier than you, and will stay late for people, will eventually pick up those clients. So once you build a big business, once you establish and you created the money you want to make, then you start creating the boundaries. But look, it's hard. Like, this is a grind. And I don't care what anyone says. Like, in order for you to get to a certain level of success in your career behind the chair or as an owner, it is not going to be easy. It's going to be a grind. You're going to cry. You're going to work. You're going to say to yourself, this fucking sucks. I don't want to do it anymore. I say it probably twice a week. It's normal. The thing is, you dust yourself off and you keep on going. Because what happens if you don't? Then you fail. But if you keep on going and you just take a little crawl forward, you will get there. Now, when it comes to boundaries, if somebody truly annoys you and you don't like doing their hair and they push the envelope too far, then tell them that. The book for you to read is called Crucial Conversations. Learn how to have these hard conversations with people. But if you get clear on what's important to you and clear on your schedule, and if you have a business already behind the chair where you don't have to do that anymore, then don't do it anymore. And if they don't want to be your client anymore because of it, then there's a million other hairstylists. And then there's a million other people who would take their spot at the time you want to do their hair in. I'm just not clear on what boundaries you're talking about. James, next question.
Okay, so we got a couple more while they're coming in.
Nice.
Hair creation salon boutique. How do I find independent stylists for my salon? I tried Indeed and SM. And then Trevor Travertine Camus, hiring.
One question at a
firing,
time.
Huh?
One question at a time.
Well, it's basically the same thing.
All right, cool.
Hiring and firing it has recently been a normal thing. So
Guys, I have something called the Build Your Dream Team Masterclass. It's on my website. I actually teach this in my Level Up Academy. When it comes to finding hairstylists, Indeed's not where you want to go. You want to attract stylists to contact you, to want to be part of your team. That comes down to your social media content, creating awareness, may help them make a decision that you're the best salon to go to. And so you should have an abundance of hairstylists reaching out to you on a daily or weekly basis. That comes from your content. The problem is, as hair salon owners or barbershop owners, you look at your hairstylist as something different than your clients. So I have independent stylists who we do a rev share split. It's commission. They are independent. They have their own business. They get a 1099. It's that's why I like to structure my business. It's completely legal, but they're independent. Completely different type of person I'm trying to build. Same thing with renters. So if they're independent renters, they're your clients too. So I treat my hairstylists like my coaching clients. I had to make that switch because that's exactly what they are. I'm coaching them and mentoring them. So I market for them like I would my coaching clients. And then you have to market for them like they're your clients who come into your salon, because you're making money from them and their efforts in your salon. So whether they rent the chair, or whether they're doing hair and you're doing a commission split with them. So you have to change the way you think about attracting hairstylists, and you have to make it like I'm attracting clients. Why does a client choose your salon? Because you do better hair. Why would a hairstylist choose your salon? Because you're a better owner. And you and your owner account of your business, like, you should be a personal brand, and you should speak about things that interest you, and you should become the owner that other hairstylists look at your page and are like, holy shit, I want to work for him or her. And then your salon page should be the one that attracts clients. If you do that, you'll always have people reaching out to you to join your team. Change your mindset from trying to hire employees or team members to trying to attract more clients to rent the chair from you. I think that mindset shift should help. And Indeed, I wouldn't waste my time on Indeed. I would do a social media push. I would create a amazing class. I would keep it open to the public, and I would host classes on a weekly or monthly basis, where people come into your salon and you get a chance to find out who they are, what their core values are, and really if they're going to fit or not. And if you do that on a long enough time horizon, on a consistent cadence, you will have built a brand new team. If you want help, like actually help to do this, I will help you. DM me. I did it with hundreds of people at this point who fired their staff and rebuilt the team in a matter of a few months because their culture sucked. I did it with people who were down to 2 styles in the 12-chair salon, and within literally 60 days, hired 10 new people to fill their salon. So it's possible. It works. Watch my content now. You're seeing me speak about classes. You're seeing me host classes in my salon. It's a little hint. I'm doing it as we speak. So you could watch it real time. Next question, James.
She responded and said she created salon for others to work there. I've put it out there. But no one wants to respond to any ads that I've put out. Working
because there's sales ads, right? You're like, hey, work for me. I'm hiring. One of the most important things when it comes to marketing is give, ask. So it's a book by Gary Vaynerchuk. It's his most underrated book, I think. Give, ask. Give to the hair community in your area. Hosting classes, masterminds, anything and everything you could do to give as much as you can, and reciprocity will happen where they want to join your team. Before you ask someone to join your team, you have to give them something so they trust you. Everybody's fucking hiring right now. What makes you different?
She said it's Victoria, Nick. That's who's asking the questions. And then we have Travertine Camus. Hiring and firing has become normal of late. I came up with a strategy to train everyone and align them with the vision. So I have spent much time and resources.
Real quick, Victoria, if you're in the community, go to the Stylist Attraction System. Watch that, take notes, come back to me with questions, and then we'll figure out the whole action plan for you. So watch that first. watch every lesson that's in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create the action plan for you. Like how to run the ad, how to do the messaging in the ad, how to message people on Instagram, all of that. The whole chat to chair system, that works too. All right, next question, James.
So, Travertine Camus, hiring and firing has become a normal as of late. I came up with a strategy to train everyone, align them with the vision. So I have spent much time and resources acquiring the knowledge. Should I charge them for that knowledge?
Start that question again, James. Who is he charging?
No, he's saying that he spends a lot of time acquiring that knowledge and resources and has trained everybody and they're being fired. He goes, should I charge them for that?
No, you should have a better hiring process so you don't have to fire people. Like your hiring process is broken then. So you need to make sure your interview process establishes the fact that they actually are a good fit for your team and you don't get blindsided in 30 to 90 days that they're not. And so my interview process clearly singles out the people who aren't a good fit for my team because I pour into them too. And if I don't follow my process, it's broken and I hire the wrong people. If I do it myself, I hire the wrong people often. And I ask myself, did I follow my own process? And no, I didn't. So your interview process needs to be very selective. And then you do a 30, 60, 90 day checkpoint with them. At 30 days, if the shit you're seeing out of them isn't really great, well, guess what? They got to go. 60, same thing. 90, same thing. At 90 days, they're part of the team. So they're not part of the team until 90 days. But to charge them, no, you want to give it away. It's not like there's nothing we're doing that is rocket science, honestly. Right? You are there to help build them. The quote that I love about this is, what if I train my team and they leave? Well, what if you don't train your team and they stay? So let's first figure out your hiring process and making sure that it's dialed in to the point where you don't hire people who aren't a good fit anymore. This question I ask people is my new game-changing question. Name 3 people you admire and why. It helps me understand how that person thinks. So yeah, I wouldn't charge them. If you're paying for their classes to travel somewhere, then you can have an agreement where a percentage of their commission goes to paying back part of that class if you're coming out of pocket. And how I like to split it up is if, let's say someone's 50-50 in my salon and they want to go to a class, I'll cover 50%, they cover 50%. If they're 60% and 40, they cover 60, I cover 40. So everything is like a partnership.
So Victoria, I don't think is in the program. She said she just spoke with you last year. So that's probably why she hasn't.
Victoria, you would have the team if you jumped into the program. So, Victoria, join the program. You're going to be very, very happy with the results. I promise you. Go to the second pin post on my Instagram and see what people are saying.
And how do you bounce back from failure without spiraling or second guessing everything?
Oh, it's a learning lesson. So failure, you have to give it love and gratitude. It taught you a lesson. And the problem is, what did you learn from it? Because if you don't get clear on what you learned from it, you're bound to repeat it. So if this didn't happen, okay, if this didn't happen to me, then I wouldn't have learned this mistake. And if this mistake happens to me in 2 years from now, how much bigger and worse would that catastrophe have been? So you have to find a way to find the silver lining on that quote unquote failure. But you didn't fail. You just learned. So this is what business is, entrepreneurship is. It's getting beat up all the time and realizing what went wrong and figuring out how to not let that happen again to you. And you're not alone here. It happens to everybody. It's just the people at the finish line are the ones who are able to deal with it. So shake it off. It happens to everybody. You don't suck. Just know it's part of being an entrepreneur. This is why it's lonely. This is why people have, issues in their life. They go to drinking, go to drugs, commit suicide. Like, it's fucking lonely. It's fucking hard. But did you die? No. You're still here. Does it really fucking matter? No, it doesn't matter. Do you got your health? Perfect. Can you pivot? Yes. Do you have to go bankrupt? Maybe. But guess what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to start business. I'm going to start and do it the right way. These are all learning lessons. So you don't suck because you failed. I got my teeth kicked in so many times. I should fucking be a billionaire. But I made so many mistakes and I just had to learn from them. And guess what? If you don't take the time to question why you failed, and was it a people problem? Was it a process problem? Was it who I was fundamentally? What was I just not a good enough leader? Did I know the right thing to do, but I chose not to do it? Like, you have to get clear on why that failure happened. What's the lesson to learn from it? And then become the person who that never happens to again. Because if you don't change who you are, you'll fall for that trap again. You'll have the bad habits. You'll just fall victim to the cycle. And the problem is that failure gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it gets harder and harder and harder to overcome it. So pay attention to the failure, because you have to learn from it. If you don't, it will get harder and harder as time goes on, because the negative impact will get greater and greater, because that's the universe getting louder and louder with you to force you to make a change. And the best way to do it is to learn from somebody else who made those mistakes. That's why I created the Level Up Academy. So I can just tell people what the mistakes I made to save them years of making the same mistakes and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Victoria said she'll call you next week.
That is the issue, Victoria. Today you take action, not next week.
For business purpose only, what bullet points should beauty professionals be able to meet before getting a suite?
What was the question again? What bullet points?
What bullet points should beauty professionals meet before they get a suite?
You should have your weekly or monthly rent, like whatever that is, saved up somewhere for 3 months, at a minimum 3 months saved up. You should be able to pay your weekly rent for that suite and your bills for the week in one day, working behind the chair. So if your suite's like $450 a week, you should be able to do like $1,250 a week in services for the day, in revenue. I'm sorry, $1,250 a day. So if you're $400 a week, you should be doing it 3 times that to cover the rest of your expenses, your taxes, your overhead, your other color and shit like that. So if you're not doing like times 3 of what that weekly rent is, I would really think about learning how to market, learning how to build your clientele a little more efficiently, because suites are really expensive. And honestly, I would take a look at small micro salons than a suite, because that way you can learn how to build a team, and then you're not the only one driving revenue to your business. But yeah, 3 months saved up of all your bills, that's business bills. Guess what? You should have 3 months of your personal life too saved up. So that's the other caveat to it, because your personal life and your business life, they got to learn how to commingle together, because they will affect each other. I think that's the lie that every salon owner gets told, is they need to have a work-life balance and they have to keep the two separate. Well, you can't, because you're a mom in the morning, then you go to the salon and you're the owner, and then what happened with your family in the morning is going to affect you as an owner at night. And then if you're not making money in the salon, then you can't pay your bills at home. So they're intertwined. They all have to work together. You've got to find a way to fill your calendar with all of these different things you have to do, and show up as a mom and show up as an owner. And you have to find a way to balance it out in the same calendar. Don't have 2 separate calendars. You're a mom who owns a hair salon. You're a salon owner who's also a mother. So just understand that you're not going to separate work and life. You have to learn how to do the dance with both of them. And that's where you become a successful mom, a successful salon owner, and you find your ultimate happiness, learning how to do that dance with both.
How do I protect my energy? Oh, how do you protect your energy when you constantly pour into everyone else?
This feeds my energy. And that's a beautiful question too. And thank you for asking that question. I love this shit. Right? Like,
He really does.
Like, I fucking love it. And if I could, I mean, I do this every day. Like, if I could do it, I fucking love this. And it's like, I feed off of somebody leaving a conversation with me, learning something and being a better version of themselves. And it's just true, because I look at when I do these talks, right? And I do this knowing that one day my daughter might watch this video. I do this knowing that my great great grandson might watch this video. We live in an era now where this is going to be on the internet forever. And he might need something from this. And I could be the person that he hears it from, and I never met him before. And on the other side of that is the ripple effect you have on the universe. I could help somebody with my words that, let's say, I'm going to give you a fucking crazy story right now. I could help you become a better salon owner. You then make more money. You then are able to put your kid through college. Your kid now becomes a doctor. Your kid's a doctor who performs a surgery on my grandkid. And because of me and the encouragement and the words and the skill set I gave you through my coaching program, you were able to put your kid through a better school, who he became a surgeon, the best surgeon in the world, who performed a life-saving surgery on my grandson. So I directly saved my grandson's life because of me giving you the words. I got fucking chills right now thinking of that. That's the connection we have, and that's the impact we have as hairstylists, as coaches, as anyone. The ripple effect goes far beyond what you think. When you let that person in, when you're driving in traffic and they're trying to make a turn or squeeze in, and you let them go for that 2 seconds, like you just come on, go ahead, get in front of me for a second because the guy made a wrong turn, or you could be a dick and not let them in and rush forward. That extra minute that you let them in that slowed you down could have saved you from a car accident, could have killed you. And so you don't know the impact of just being a good person has on the world and has on your own life. And so I live my life like that. And honestly, it came from years of like meditation, positive self-talk, plant medicine, ayahuasca, mushrooms. Like, I'll be completely transparent. I did a bunch of ceremonies with psychedelics, 2 of which were ayahuasca, and it changed my thought pattern. And I realized, like, we're all connected on this planet. And so I'm truly living in my greatest excitement when I do this. And so it takes me a little while to warm up. Like, I probably got in a discussion this morning with my wife about what school to send my daughter to. And it was, wasn't the gets heated sometimes. And then you have to learn how to turn that energy off to come to these conversations. But this is what motivates me. Like, this is what gives me passion and fuels me. And so it doesn't drain my energy. If something drains your energy, then you have to stop doing it, because then you're not aligned with who you truly should be on this planet. And anything and everything you do on a daily basis, you should take an audit of and be like, how do I feel after this? Did this excite me? Did this give me energy? Did this add fuel to my life? And if it didn't, then change it. Like, that's why, like, I stopped doing hair at one point because it didn't excite me anymore. This, like, when I talk to my clients behind the chair and they were trying to get a new job, like me recommending a book to them and then helping them get that new job, I felt more fulfilled from than having them love their highlights, because it's fucking easy to do highlights. And so now I found fulfillment in training my team to do color so they can feel that impact too. But yeah, thank you for that question. And honestly, meditation, knowing what my purpose is, I'll do this forever. Like, I was talking to Mary from behind the chair. We're at a premiere in Orlando, and she's like, "What's your goal? Like, what's your end game here?" And I was like, honestly, like, I'm big in goals. Like, I have targets I want to hit. But when it comes to the coaching, when it comes to mentorship, no end game. I'm going to do this forever. Like, you look at John Maxwell, the guy's like in his, I think he may be almost 80 years old, and he's still doing it. Tony Robbins still doing it. There's something about people who truly, when they find their calling in life, it gives them life and gives them energy. It doesn't take it away. And so if you're in a job, or you're doing something that takes away energy from you, then you have to change it. And now, if you're in the beginning of your career, you don't know enough yet. So it's going to be taxing on your body. You have to try all the things first to be able to make a decision on what is going to excite you and bring you energy. Because as you're building that career capital and you're building your skill set, it's going to get hard. So make sure you're in the right moment of life and you don't give up too soon on the thing that you thought would excite you, but it got hard, so you gave up. Next question, James.
I'm at the studio every day with Nick, and if not for his wife and kids, he would be here all day working, all night working. He wouldn't stop. He literally loves it that much. Like, it's part of him. Next question, actually a good one. Charlie highlights. Hey, can you give me more deets on Wednesday's education?
All right, so guys, Wednesdays at 9, 10 o'clock ish in the morning, At our Fairfield location, we are doing in-person classes. So for hairstylists, not owners. You could, if you're an owner too, you can come. It's going to be on hair cutting, hair coloring, techniques, consultations, mindset, money, business, all of that. And so as time goes on, I'll probably create a curriculum, like a calendar for everyone, so they know exactly what's that Wednesday is going to entail. And then once a month on a Sunday, we're going to do a super class where I'm bringing in an educator. I think Priscilla, she's going to do this month in July 24th. And so every Wednesday, micro classes, 2-3 hours. And then one Sunday a month, master class in something. And once every 6 weeks, I'll be in my DeLand, Florida location doing that. These are streaming live, so you can just tune in, watch it live. People will get access in the Level Up Academy to the actual curriculum in class too. I have something called the Next Level Stylist. So if you're a hairstylist and you want to better your skills, you could join that part of the community. If you're an owner, your team gets access to that for free. So if you are part of the program, your team gets coached by me as well. And whoever else is going to be coaching them down the line on techniques. But every Wednesday, Charlie, at my salon, techniques and mastery. I feel like there's a void in our industry with people teaching them how to be hairstylists, and they were never a hairstylist themselves. And it goes beyond foil placement. It goes way deeper, these classes. So you're more than welcome to send your team or pop on in for them. James? Else?
She said, "Oh, good. My husband thought it was at 9 p.m." She said, "We got your ebook and built our manuals, so thank you."
Oh, you're welcome.
And that's all the questions
All
that we
right,
have.
guys. We're trying to kick off 10 a.m. Hopefully, it's a good time for everybody. It looks like it was a lot of great questions today. So 10 a.m.s throughout the week. Wednesdays, obviously, I'll be in the class teaching, so we'll be live for that. If you are challenged right now as an owner, you're like, "Fuck, there's got to be a better way. I know that what I'm doing right now is not working." You hired a coach, you hired a mentor, they pointed you in the wrong direction. We could fix it. We can get you pointed in the right direction again. Shoot me a DM me the word grow. Hop in my DMs on Instagram. That's the best place to reach me. And we'll see if I can be helpful to you. You know, sometimes just a little pivot can really change your whole entire salon and change how you feel about being a business owner. So you guys are amazing. Love you all. I will catch you tomorrow is the 4th. So I probably won't be going live. I'll be waving my American flag, riding my horse, wearing my George Washington hat. But I will be back on Friday. So see you all later. James, we're out.